Talk Sports Matters on SEM TV. Stay with us.
Sensational, absolutely sensational, sensational. And Stadium is wrong. The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good. A huge shot. The puck drops in this gold medal game.
US junior sprint sensation Rosemary Nwankwo has been invited to the country's Commonwealth Games, the training camp in Abuja, following withdrawals that have affected the athletics squad. And the big names at Wimbledon all tested victory on Wednesday, with Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic, Aryna Sabalenka, Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka each booking third round places. And in football, USA are into the World Cup last 16 after beating Bosnia and Herzegovina by 2-0, but will be without Folarin Balogun for their clash with the Red Devils of Belgium after his red card. And Youri Tielemans scored a controversial last-gasp extra-time penalty winner for Belgium to complete an incredible 3-2 comeback victory against Senegal in the last 32 of the Mundial. Also, Harry Kane scored a brilliant double to inspire the Three Lions of England to a come-from-behind 2-1 win over DR Congo and set up a World Cup last 16 showdown with co-host Mexico. Interestingly, 10 countries have confirmed a place in the last 16 of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. USA, England and Belgium became the latest teams to book their spots. And with that, I say welcome to Sports 360 right here on SEM Television. I'm that name, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. Without much ado now, we start off with athletics this morning, where Nigeria's junior sprint sensation Rosemary Nwankwo has been invited to the country's Commonwealth Games training camp in Abuja, following withdrawals that have affected the athletics squad. Of course, Nwankwo's invitation was announced on Wednesday by her school, Nigerian Tulip International College, at a track club and youth sports academy. She was not included in the initial 29 athlete squad released by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, but her call-up appears to have followed the withdrawals of US-based sprinter Tima Godbless and Ella Onodovwewo. Interesting time. So, the young athletes right there going into that very one. However, the young star may not join the camp immediately because he is expected to compete at the CAA African Under-18 and Under-20 Championships in Dakar, Senegal, from July 4th to the 5th. Despite still being in school, Nwankwo has enjoyed an impressive season. She competed in all three legs of the MTN Champs before helping Nigeria secure qualification for the World Championships in the women's 4x100 meters relay at the World Relays in Gaborone, Botswana. She also competed at the African Championships before battling for a place in Nigeria's Commonwealth Games squad at the national trials in June. Following her invitation, she's expected to join fellow sprinters Blessing Ogunderon, Rosemary Chukwuma, Miracle Ezechukwu, Olayinka Olajide and Obi Chukwuka in camp. The N-Youth Sports Academy athlete has got season's best times of about 11.42 seconds in the 100 meters and 23.19 seconds in the 200 meters. From there now we move to tennis, where, interestingly, the big names at Wimbledon all tasted victory on Wednesday, with Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic, Aryna Sabalenka, Coco Gauff and Naomi Osaka each booking third-round places. World number 1 and defending Wimbledon champion Jannik Sinner, who battled back from his set down to twice in a 5-set thriller in the opening round, was tested again on Wednesday. It was indeed a cagey affair as Sinner battled past unheralded 29-year-old Nuno Borges, through 2 tie breaks, 7-6, 7-6, 6-4 in the first match on centre court. It was far from straightforward for the Italian, who failed to earn a single break point in the opening set before fighting back from the brink in the second, breaking Borges at 5-all after he served for the set and held set point before sealing victory in just over 2.5 hours. Next up for Sinner is Jensen Brooksby, who snapped a 9-match losing streak at Queens last month and, swatted aside Ignacio Bose. Meanwhile, on a day when other big names were hard-pressed, Novak Djokovic processed imperiously to the third round as the 39-year-old seeks a record-breaking 25th Grand Slam at Wimbledon. At times, he was almost flawless as he dismantled Stefanos Tsitsipas, 12 years his junior, but was overwhelmed in straight sets 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Tsitsipas's first serve was strong, but Djokovic pounced on his second serve, and in each of the set when the chance came in the break, he seized the moment ruthlessly. A bright moment for the 27-year-old Greek came when he powered a forehand round the net to beat Djokovic, but he needed to sustain that level of excellence to challenge the Serb, given the kind of form Djokovic found on Wednesday. He was simply too good, landing outstanding returns to confound Tsitsipas's best effort. In the female draw, 2-time Grand Slam champion Coco Gauff survived another Wimbledon scare, battling past Argentina's Solana Sierra 6-3, 3-6, 7-6 after a dramatic tie break. It turned around to reach, which was enough for her to reach the third round of the event right there, at centre court on Wednesday. Wimbledon remains the only Grand Slam where the American has never gone beyond the fourth round, and the seventh seed was staring at an early exit against an opponent who last year became the first lucky loser in the Open era to reach the women's last 16. Gauff rattled through the first set on court 1, but lost her way in the second, possibly unsettled by a bizarre serve that went sideways into the umpire's chair. Sierra, now ranked world number 56, and a direct entrant at Wimbledon, broke the American to love to race into a 2-love lead and extend advantage to 4-1 before forcing a deciding set. The 22-year-old Argentine then had a breakpoint on 1-all, but Gauff saved it and dished up a mightily, 124 herself to regain advantage and go 2-1 up. Sarah saved a breakpoint for 2-all and 2 more to hold at 3-all before turning things around and breaking Gauff to go 4-3 up, serving to stay in the match at 5-3. Gauff held on and of course then broke her opponent to regain the momentum and leave Sierra on the back foot and of course fighting for survival. The Argentine took a 7-4 lead in the tie-break, but Gauff then won 6 points in a row, capping her performance with a really good outstanding. We saw that's on the first of 2 match points. It was enough to see her through to the next round of the event. Elsewhere, top-ranked Aryna Sabalenka also progressed to the third round, but only after a massive second set test against unseeded American McCarthy Kessler on court 1, of course winning 6-1, 7-6. It was an interesting affair, a cagey one for the most part. Sabalenka converted, her third match point in the tie-break, of course, after saving 2 set points. By the time Kessler had surged into a 5-2 lead in the second set, Sabalenka's frustration was boiling over, with the world number 1 repeatedly slapping her thigh in anger after missed opportunities. Kessler appeared to be on the cusp of dragging the 4-time Grand Slam champion into a third set as she had 2 set points at 5-3 and another 2 in the tie break. But Sabalenka's superior power and experience ultimately saw her through, keeping her bid for a first major title away from hard court very much alive as she finally converted her third match points. Also, Naomi Osaka held her nerve. She had a new look to show off before winning her second round match at Wimbledon. She got into that one on the right foot and kept it real. Osaka, whose fashion reveals, her fashion reveals have become an event of her own at Grand Slam tournaments. She wore a less elaborate outfit for her walk-on than the Kill Bill inspired kimono for her opening round match that was on Monday. This all-white outfit featured a white belt and a long train behind her. Of course, it drew plenty of attention as she made the walk from the locker room to number 2 court, trailed by photographers and fans wanting to take, their own photos. The 4-time major winner took off the latest ensemble as she began warming up for her match against qualifier Anastasia Gasanova, and that was on Wednesday. She went on to quickly dispatch Gasanova, 6-3, 6-2, and of course made it to the next round of the event right there at the All England Club. So now let's move on to football, where we look at results from games played across different centers at the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico, and Canada. But before then, let's step on the brakes. All right, when we return, we'll go straight to that one. Look at results from games played across different centers at the ongoing FIFA World Cup, where USA, co-host nation, made it through to the last 16 of the tournament, where they get to face another co-host nation, talking about Mexico, in the next round. We'll talk about that and many more right here on Sports 360. Stay locked.
And now, time to talk sports matters on SEM TV. Stay with us.
Sensational! Absolutely sensational! Sensational! And stadium is rocked. The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good. A huge shot. The puck drops in this gold medal game.
Welcome back to Sports 360 right here on SEM Television. I'm still the minute, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. Okay, now let's move on straight to football, where, at the ongoing Mundial, USA are into the World Cup last 16 after beating Bosnia by 2-0, but will be without Folarin Balogun for their clash against the Red Devils of Belgium after his red card. Of course, he got red carded at some point in time in that very encounter. Goals from Balogun and Jannik Tielemans were enough for the US of A to progress to the last 16. The Santa Clara crowd was brought to life just before the break when Balogun struck home. The match threatened to boil over on 62 minutes, that was when Balogun was sent off for a heavy challenge which caught the ankle of Tarik Moharamovic. Initially, they appeared little concerned when Balogun challenged Moharamovic in the pursuit of a loose ball, but continued before the video assistant referee, instructed the referee to take a second look at that very incident. The replays told a different story. Balogun's challenge was certainly reckless. His thought raked down Moharamovic's calf before catching the turning defender's ankle in a challenge that always carried the risk of a serious injury. There had been no red card shown by the on-field officials initially, but after reviewing the incident on the pitch side monitor, the referee had little option but to produce a straight red card. The host proved, up to the challenge defensively, though the Bosnian side ending the game on just 0.29 worth of expected goals in that very one. The second goal came in the 80th minute when Tielemans' free kick his free kick attempt from just outside the box went up and over the wall and beat the outstretched hands of Bosnia goalkeeper Nikola Vasil. Belgium now await in Seattle. In another development, Youri Tielemans scored a controversial last-gasp extra-time penalty winner for Belgium to complete an incredible 3-2 comeback victory against Senegal in the last 32 of the ongoing Mundial right there in USA, Mexico and Canada. Goals from Sunderland's Habib Diarra and Crystal Palace's Ismaila Sarr saw Belgium trail 2-0 in the 86 minutes. But Belgium substitute Romelu Lukaku and midfielder Youri Tielemans scored twice in the space of 3 minutes to send the game into extra time. Penalties loomed before Tielemans was brought down by Lamine Camara's 117th minute challenge, and the referee gave a sports kick after a 7-minute video assistant referee review. Of course, Tielemans then stepped up the plate, to slam home the penalty in the 125th minute, setting up a last 16 clash against the US of A in Seattle on Tuesday, July the 7th at exactly 1 a.m. Nigerian time, also UK time. An interesting game it was for the most part of that very one. Senegal were deservedly in front at halftime as Diarra netted a rebound. That was in the 25th minute of the game for Sarr's header, which had crashed back off the post. Sarr then doubled the lead just 6 minutes into the second half as he superbly chested down a long ball, which split the Belgium defense before lashing home. Belgium pair of Kevin De Bruyne and Jeremy Doku were surprisingly taken off in the 56th minute of the game, and it looked like it would be 35-year-old Kevin De Bruyne's last appearance at a Mundial. However, his Napoli teammate and halftime substitute Lukaku sparked incredible scenes. Of course, it was a great comeback with 4 minutes left of normal time remaining as he steered home Belgium's first shot on target. 2 minutes and 39 seconds later, Tielemans headed in with Belgium's second shot on target from Leandro Trossard's cross to stun Senegal. 20 minutes earlier than that, the pair had been involved in a heated exchange at the hydration break. But those frustrations are turned to joy as Belgium somehow forced extra time and eventually through to the next round of the tournament. Something to build on going forward. But the question is, what's it like for the Red Devils of Belgium? Will they keep the momentum going? Will they falter when they get to the last 16 of the tournament? That's one question that needs answers. Okay, now let's look at another result where, interestingly, Harry Kane scored a brilliant double to inspire the Three Lions to a come from behind 2-1 victory over DR Congo and set up a World Cup last 16 showdown with co-host Mexico. Thomas Tuchel's side were given a huge scare by DR Congo, who scored through Brian Kipenga 7 minutes into the first World Cup knockout game in their history. But Harry Kane came to the rescue. The Bayern player was absolutely outstanding after heading in substitute Anthony Gordon's cross to bring England level with a quarter of an hour remaining. Kane rivaled home a stunning 96-minute winner to complete the comeback. The double takes Kane above Brazil's legend Pelé on 13 goals at World Cups and ensures England will face Mexico at the Azteca Stadium in the last 16, kicking off at exactly 1 a.m. Nigerian time on Monday. Interesting times for Harry Kane and the Three Lions of England facing fellow co-host nation Mexico. England were made to work really hard for the victory, with Kipenga, capitalizing on defensive disarray to beat Jordan Pickford at his near post, for the shock opener before DRC goalkeeper Lionel Mpasi made a string of saves to keep England at bay at the other end. Jude Bellingham was thwarted on, in that very encounter. Several occasions, up to about 3, while Marcus Rashford had a shot cleared off the line by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, leaving it to Kane to make the breakthrough, having earlier been controversially denied a penalty after going to ground following contact from Mpasi inside the box. England labored for long periods against their disciplined opponent DRC, but Tuchel's changes made a difference, as Kane's emphatic winner fired into the roof of the net after finding space amid a crowd of defenders kept their World Cup dreams very much alive. So now they are through to the last 16 of the tournament. The question is, what's it like for the Three Lions going into the last 16 of the Mundial, where they get to face fellow co-host nation Mexico? Will they make it count? Will they keep the momentum going? Or will they crumble like a pack of cards when it gets to the crunch? What's your assessment of DRC's performance against England? Should they have carried the day? Should it have been a win for DRC? That's W in the chart for DR Congo. Or England deserved winners of that very one? How about Harry Kane? Will he make it count in terms of personal records? I'm talking about goals, number of goals scored at the tournament. Will he join the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Lothar? Mbappe currently leads, the tournament with about 6 goals. One more than Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho. What's it like for Harry Kane? Erling Braut Haaland is also in the conversation for number of goals scored at the FIFA World Cup. Strongly in the conversation. Lionel Messi in the conversation. So what's it like for Harry Kane regarding personal records? Will he make it count? Will he get a job done? Will he eventually finish as top scorer at the Mundial this very summer in USA, Mexico and Canada? That's one question that needs answers, yes. Okay, now let's move on to, let's look at teams that have already qualified to the last 16 and tell you that at least 10 countries are confirmed to play in the last 16 of the ongoing FIFA World Cup. USA, the Three Lions of England, the Red Devils of Belgium became the latest teams to book their spots. Folarin Balogun scored and then saw red card as the Americans beat Bosnia and Herzegovina by 2-0. The Three Lions needed a Hurricane double to win 2-1 after DRC took a shock lead. Rudy Garcia's men also produced a remarkable comeback to beat Senegal after the Teranga Lions took a 2-goal lead. England will now play Mexico, while Belgium face co-host USA. The other countries in the round of 16 are France, the Seleção of Brazil, Norway, Morocco, Paraguay, Canada, and of course Mexico. Interesting times. What's it like? What's your assessment of the African teams being knocked out of, the Mundial? Of course, we saw the boys, and that's Bafana of South Africa being knocked out in the round of 32 after 9 African teams had progressed to the last 32 stage of the Mundial. South Africa became the first African team to be knocked out. Now they've been joined by Democratic Republic of Congo and Senegal. What's it like for the remaining African teams such as Egypt, teams such as Morocco, Algeria, who are still very much involved, Cape Verde? What's it like? Will they do Africa proud? Will they make it to the latter stages of the tournament? How about a team like Morocco? Will they, repeat a similar fate we saw at the 2022 edition of the Mundial, hosted in Qatar, where they got to the semi-finals of that very one? Can they make it count this time around? That's one question that needs answers. Now, let's move on to some transfer stories. In as much as the FIFA World Cup is ongoing in USA, Mexico and Canada, we got some really interesting transfer stories making the rounds. And just so you know, Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a club record £100 million deal to sign Sandro Tonali from the Magpies, Newcastle United. Tonali has been on the radar of several top teams. The midfielder is expected to fly to London from Milan, today, Thursday, to undergo his medical and complete the formalities of his move. Spurs are set to pay £92.5 million plus £7.5 million in achievable add-ons for the 26-year-old. Tonali is expected to earn more than £275,000 per week at Spurs and was keen to work under Tottenham boss and fellow Italian Roberto Di Zerbi, despite interest elsewhere, including the citizens of Manchester, talking about City. For the second day running, Tottenham have committed to smashing their transfer record after agreeing an £85 million deal with the Hammers West Ham United for midfielder Matheus Fernandes. The arrivals of Fernandes and Tonali are set to take Spurs' spending through to £200 million barrier. Spurs have spent £52 million on defender Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton, while they've brought in Andy Robertson, Marcos Senesi and Martin Dubravka on free transfers. What's the fate like? Incredible signings for Tottenham Hotspur already this very summer. Strategic and really good signings for the most part for the North London outfit. Will they come good under Roberto Di Zerbi in the 2026-2027 campaign on the backdrop of struggling for the most part of the last 2 seasons? Will they come good this time around? What's it like for Tottenham Hotspur? Well, we wait to see what happens at the end of it all. In another development, Victor Osimhen is in the news, and that's because Galatasaray have reportedly received a €120 million offer from Saudi Arabian club for the Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen, with the Turkish champions now sitting on 2 separate 9-figure bids as the summer transfer window intensifies around their prized asset. Turkish transfer insider Seyan Turk reported that Galatasaray now have 2 distinct €120 million proposals on the table, one from a European club and another from Saudi Arabia, though the identity of the Saudi Arabian club has not been disclosed. The development comes after Atletico de Madrid were previously linked with a bid of the same amount, while separate unnamed European club was said to have made a verbal offer of €125 million. Despite the extraordinary level of interest from multiple continents, Galatasaray have shown no indication of changing their position. The Turkish Super League champions are determined to keep Osimhen in Istanbul, with club officials reportedly viewing the 27-year-old as the most important player in their squad and the cornerstone around the team, whom the next phase of the team's development will be built. That conviction has only hardened following Osimhen's outstanding first full season with the club after his record transfer last year. The Nigerian scored 22 goals and provided 8 assists in 33 matches across all competitions to help Galatasaray successfully defend their Super League title. A campaign that further underlined his importance to the club's ambitions. Club president Dursun Özbek is reported to value Osimhen at about €150 million and has got no intention to opening transfer discussions with interested parties. Beyond the valuation, Galatasaray are said to be preparing a new long-term contract running until 2029 with a significant salary package, while also planning to hand the forward the captain's armband following the expected departure of Mauro Icardi and offer him the famous number 9 shirt as a symbol of his centrality to the club's identity. The club is also believed to be targeting the signing of top-class midfielder, a top-class midfielder to strengthen their UEFA Champions League credentials, with the overriding message from Istanbul being that they want Osimhen to lead their next chapter rather than depart the team at this material time. Osimhen has been on the radar of several top teams, including La Blaugrana, FC Barcelona, the Red Devils, Manchester United, West Londoners, talking about Chelsea, and of course Los Merengues were reportedly said to be interested, and of course Paris Saint-Germain have also been linked with a move for the 27-year-old Nigeria international and former Napoli masked man. Is a move away from Galatasaray, really necessary for Victor Osimhen at this material time? Should he even consider leaving Galatasaray at this point? Should he stay put at the side? Well, that's one question that really needs answers. Interestingly, we can't go any further, as this is where we get to put a pin this morning on Sports 360 right here on SEM Television. Been a great time with you out there, and I tell you for free, you are the real MVP. I made that name, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. Remember, who read, they serious, but now who pass, now he no book. For now, it's a wrap.
And now, time to talk sports matters on SEM TV. Stay with us.